Well, hello, how are you? Welcome back to our podcast and our way of just kind of connecting with you. And it is making,
Make It Make Sense
that's right.
with Mary and Maureen. And we just decided on this. We've been recording a few weeks now. And so we talked about what is it that, this podcast could be called? What's it about? And we really settled on Make It Make Sense with Mary and Maureen, because that's really what we've done.
And I think it evolved because listening to the podcast that we've already done, it was really to connect to you and to make it make sense for all of those people, including ourselves, for struggling with making make sense out of ordinary life, ordinary problems, or extraordinary problems.
Well, and we also kind of settled on one of the things that I think you've definitely done for me, is you've offered me grace and how to navigate life that can get really messy. So, life is messy. We all have just things that we don't know that we're going to have to face. And so what we're here to do is to offer you some grace in those messes, and also some wisdom through our own experiences for you along with your own journey.
That's right. So grace and wisdom are two important things as you go through life. And we've also learned from so many other people that we have met, come across with, become friends with. So we just want to share it with you and make it make sense. So
I have no idea where this is going today. Which is how it goes every time we do this.
When you get up in the morning, and thank God you get up in the morning, we never know where it's going to go either. We have no idea where we're going to go and what we're going to do. Even though we have this to-do list, we never know what's going to happen next. So that's maybe what we should talk about, those surprises along the way and how we get the strength to get through when it's not such a good surprise. I mean, seriously, I just remember thinking one time when I was driving down Poplar, which is always a little bit of a dangerous thing.
I was here on my way here today.
And you got here okay. I'm saying
I got here on time and okay.
A really good job. But I didn't one time. I was on my way to something, some meeting or something, and one of those front end loaders, there's like trucks things that they were repairing a street, turned right into my car. It was not funny at the time, but it's funny because it just kind of turned into my car. It was making a left turn. I don't know why, because it shouldn't have been even on the street. But and it was like my whole day totally
changed in a second. It can be a car accident. It can be spilling something on yourself.
Yep, having to change.
I had to change this morning. It can be a lot of different things. It could be, just yesterday I had a situation where someone called and asked me a question that about someone else that I knew, and it was pretty catastrophic, what had happened. And I don't know, I haven't talked to the person, so I don't know what the details are, but I could relate from being that person that has had catastrophic things happen in our day. I think that we were going to talk about this a little bit. We talked about kind of giving a little history in the past.
Yes.
And maybe this is the time.
I think it's the time. If you're ready, it's the time.
All right. So just for some of you who do not know me, and probably there will be people that do know us and know my story, I have had in the last, now it's going on 6 years, this will be the 6th year, 3 horrible tragedies in my life. The first was in November of 2019. We had an unexpected granddaughter show up in our life. several months before that. So really just about the year before we had found out about that, and it was a really happy surprise. And anyway, so we had adjusted to life with a new grandbaby, and when
And a sweet little doll.
and it's a sweet little doll. She really had the greatest disposition. But anyway, on a Saturday morning in November, just the Saturday before Thanksgiving, we got a call, and that we needed to head to the hospital. And I didn't know if we were going for a broken arm or, what the situation was. I mean, and I was scared, but, I just wasn't prepared for what we walked into, for sure. And what we walked into was them giving her CPR, and she did not survive.
And I remember that day.
Yes, it was just, it's just a day that I still can't believe. Sometimes as I talk about this, I can't believe that this has become my life, really. I feel like I used to be a normal family, and it took quite a turn. So anyway, after that, that was pretty devastating to watch your child bury a child.
Yeah.
It was really difficult. But 88 days after that, in February of 2020, our oldest son, who was our granddaughter's father, was killed in a car accident in the middle of the night. Or not in the middle. I think the accident happened just after midnight, but they contacted us about 4 a.m. So that was completely devastating.
And your world changed again in a different way.
Yes, it did. And I mean, gosh, and really it was, I think I was so worried about Andy and how,
Which is your son.
which was my son, my oldest son. And it almost, it was like I didn't have to worry about him anymore with Charlie, his daughter. So it was such a weird, it was kind of a weird thing to think about that. It almost made the pain of her dying less.
Yeah, because you knew they were together.
Because I knew it's a weird to describe, but it almost made that more tolerable, which is shocking to say, I suppose.
No, it's how you reacted at the time because of the circumstances surrounding the whole event of her, of Charlie, and of Andy. Yeah.
Well,
You felt she was taken care of now.
I did.
Her dad was back.
Yep. And so then life kind of got crazy because of COVID and all of that. So, and I run a business. So it was, which
Another layer.
a whole nother layer, but I was thankful for that. I was thankful to have a place to go. And it made the pandemic and COVID very strange, really, to be grieving and then have that happen, because you had to be isolated, and yet in grief you kind of self-isolate, So anyway, and then fast forward, kind of got life back on track. And in February of 2023, almost 3 years, almost to the day of our oldest son dying, our middle son committed suicide.
I remember that day too.
Yes.
Yes.
And that was not expected. I think that people think that they know what the day is going to bring.
Yep.
And I do remember that day, that morning, because I got up and I didn't see his car. And he and I had played golf.
You've been together the night before.
We've been playing cards the night before. And Joe was out of town and Olivia was away at school. And we had this great conversation. And we had this conversation about him moving in with his friends and about him getting this job because he was working, he graduated college and he was working bartending at a place that everybody goes and everybody knows your name.
Yeah. Yeah.
And So he was taught, because I said, how are you going to explain that you didn't get a job right after school? And he's like, and he just whipped it off like that. Like, this is what I'm going to say. And this is what I'm going to do. And he was starting to interview and do all these things. So I was really surprised when I didn't see his car the next morning, but it also scared me. So I did go upstairs, and his bed was perfectly made. And he wasn't a mess, but he also wasn't a complete neat freak either.
Right.
So it
Yeah.
just gave me pause for sure. And it was 6 o'clock. It was before 6 in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
So if you have kids that are 24 or right out of school, or in that young adult stage, they stay up late, they sleep late. So, calling him, I wasn't surprised when he didn't answer, and texting him. But I do remember laying on my bed that morning after I got out of the shower and just praying for God to give me the strength, no matter what that day held.
And that's the kind of prayer that we should be saying every day, because we never know what the days hold. And getting through that day, and then the next day, and the next day. And you have always said that you felt that part of your calling in life, part of your purpose in life, was to share your story with other people so that they would understand. Maybe not understand how it all feels, but understand the importance of faith in your life.
Oh, gosh. I can't fathom getting through this without faith.
Yeah.
And, has it made me question? I learned that the word Israel means to wrestle with God. And
That's perfect.
it's, and I think about how they say that Israel are the chosen people. And I think, well, I'm kind of an Israelite, because I have been.
We're very good at wrestling with God.
Well, I have been in the mud like a pig, wrestling a lot with.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot, and
Whether it's something so unbelievably tragic, or it's something that you just want to do or be, and it's not working out for you, or even a betrayal of some sort. We were wrestling like, God, why did this happen?
well, gosh, with just with these floods in Texas recently happened, and there's still so many people that haven't been found, and I can relate to just the day that Tommy died. We didn't know for gosh, it was from 6, and I think we found out for sure at 11 that night.
Yeah.
So it was less than 24 hours that we didn't know, and that was very difficult. And I think about those parents that still, and you can't not, your mind plays tricks on you, because I think you can't take it all in at once.
And you always have to have hope.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I see it on the news about the people in Texas, I think, well, maybe there's somebody stuck under a somewhere, or
I do too.
They're breathing, they're okay, but no one's found them yet. You just want to have hope.
Or they're with someone, and the communication is so poor down there because of just all the devastation, that maybe there's still going to be found.
And those that were found, I remember this one father say, both his daughters and his parents were drowned in the flood. They were on vacation together, not with them, just with the grandparents. And he just said that, no, God is with us now. We need him more than ever. And so it's like people were saying, well, are you mad at God? Are you angry? And you were saying, no, we need him now more than ever.
I was never angry with God. Never. Not through, I wondered why. But I didn't feel like poor, pitiful me. I definitely felt sorry for myself, no question.
I suppose that's just normal.
Well, because it's sad. It is sad. But I never felt like that it shouldn't have happened to us. I wish it hadn't. but I was never angry with God. I know people say the stages of anger,
Right.
you
Of
know,
grief, you
of
know.
grief, or
Oh,
yeah, of grief. And one of
Denial,
them,
anger, bar hitting, depression, and acceptance. And so those stages, you don't have to go through them like, okay, first we are, denying that. That's pretty much how it works, but it could be any stage at any time. And could be
Yeah.
us for a long time.
I think so I've read a lot of books.
I'm sure.
I've read a lot of books. I've
We were a
listened
reader
to a
anyway.
lot of things,
Mhm.
and people jump on to the things you hear all the time.
Mhm.
But there is something to the wilderness. Someone said there's a book called The Wilderness of Grief, I think. And that was, I don't know, someone probably gave it to me early on. And I don't have any recollection of what it said. I really don't. I'm not sure.
But
But
at
I
the
do,
time-
but the title is true.
Yeah.
It's I remember one time going to a group, a grief group.
Mhm.
And it was during the pandemic. So it was all virtual.
Oh,
So, which was awful.
yes.
But we were on Zoom. And
Hmm.
I can remember people going around and asking, what they felt like, through whatever the devastation was, that their circumstances, why they were there. And I remember saying, I feel like someone hit me with a baseball bat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think about that now,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to be hit by a baseball bat. Do you know?
No, who does? I mean,
But
not that you ever had been hit, but it was that impact that you felt, that horrible impact. Yeah. And that was the closest thing you could think of.
that was the closest thing I could think of. Because, I've heard some people, just recently I heard someone talk about the heaviness
Yeah.
in your chest. And it's true. I mean, there are times where you feel like you're suffocating.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But the very fact that for anyone who is listening to us now, the very fact that you are here speaking about this in a very measured and coherent way, making sense of it all, it's something that you actually probably can't make sense of. But once again, you have the grace and the wisdom to keep on going on the journey.
Well, I follow a woman on Instagram who lost 2 children.
Mm-hmm.
And another friend of mine who's on this journey had told me about her. And she said that after the floods in Texas, that people had reached out to her to, offer something. And she thought she had 2 girls, and I think they might have been twins, that were born with some real difficulties.
Yes.
And did we talk about this before?
We did, but I don't think we did.
But anyway, she talked about that she knew her girls were going to die.
Mm-hmm.
And so she said, my situation is not the same.
Mm-hmm.
And, my situation is not the same. But someone said to her, but people need to hear from you. They need to hear that there is hope after these tragedies.
Right.
And I thought, it is true. It is true. I can't believe that Saturday was Andy's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the 6th birthday we've celebrated without him.
Wow.
Which is so hard to believe.
Yeah.
And he died when he was 23.
Yeah, that's hard. Very hard.
Very hard. It doesn't. Well, it's been 5 years, but it's been 5.5 years. But yeah,
that's amazing.
It's amazing.
But the thing about that, like everybody's circumstance is so different. But for someone like yourself to be able to take that circumstance that has happened and to use it to bring something good out of it, something helpful out of it, make it have a purpose, gives that living witness of your sons and your granddaughter.
And I am so appreciative for the people who have shared with me. you know, that are further along on the journey, or that just are handling it with grace and with wisdom to keep living a beautiful life.
Right.
I think our children would want us to live. I mean, Tommy did leave us a note, and he did talk about, like, please live a wonderful life.
And you know, because he was on his own journey, whatever that was, and the fact that you were not aware of his journey doesn't make it any less significant for him. And so he was you're on your journey, he was on his. The fact that they joined for such a wonderful period of time, and you have all those memories and pictures, is a blessing. But I was thinking about that the other day when, because everybody is on a different journey, when people are talking about, I have a couple of friends who have gone into assisted living, or they've gone into some sort of rehab or nursing home, whatever it is. And it is funny because there's such a difference. Some people see it as an end, and some people see it as a new beginning. And it just depends on the way the person approaches it. And I find that the people who are most joyful in that situation that they don't really want to be in are the ones with the greatest faith.
You know, I think that faithful people are generally more happy people. It seems to me. I've heard someone say that you have to build a different life. And I think that is we all have to do that.
Right.
We all have disappointments. We all have either small changes or just unexpected things that happen. They don't have to be as life-shattering as ours have been. But I do think that, you know, whatever your circumstances, if you look at it as, you know, we're going to build something different.
And you and I have talked about it. I don't think we ever talked about it here. But one thing that I read years ago that it totally, all of a sudden, all of the differences and difficulties and changes made sense. I read that prose piece, that Welcome to Holland.
Yes.
And it, I don't know if any of you have heard of it, but if you haven't, take a minute to Google it and read it, because it's all about the expectations you have. You expect this certain kind of life, this certain kind of family.
You expect this life of adventure, and it's going to be so exciting, and it's going to be New York City, and it's going to be in London and
Paris and Rome and all these fancy places.
And then you end up in Holland.
Yes, the plane takes a detour and you get off and you can't get back home.
And really the poem is about having a child with special needs.
Right.
Is what that poem is about. And it's funny that you mentioned it, because I had that poem from when I found it in my 8th grade.
Oh,
It was in just a memory book. From 8th grade, and I had that poem in there.
Amazing.
Isn't that crazy?
That's amazing, because we all wind up in Holland at some point in our life, and we all wind up at a place we don't expect to be, and we look at the people who did go to Rome and Paris and all these wonderful places, and we wish that we could be there with them, but we're not. And so learning to love to live in Holland, there's nothing about Holland. It's a wonderful place, I'm sure.
But how the tulips in the windows.
There you go.
Yeah.
See, but learning about that, so wherever you're...
Because it's still beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
It's still beautiful.
In a different way. In a different way.
Well, and
it's the expectation that's changed.
The expectation has changed. And really, with that faith comes just knowing that I really want there to be something after this life. I really want our relationship to continue on. So I really want to see Jesus, and to see my boys, and to see Charlie, and to see all my friends who've gone before, and my pets.
Yes, everybody's there.
So I think it's going to be quite the party, you know.
Well, actually it is. It will be, because I did have a near-death experience or end-of-life experience, whatever they want to call it, that we'll talk about it another time. But it is a party, and there are these people waiting for you.
Well, and
But just tell them hold on sometimes.
well, and it would not be fair for me personally. I look at my husband, who I'm so incredibly thankful to be on this journey with. And you know, some people don't grow stronger, you know, through these, and I can see why. I can definitely see how, but some people do, and I've seen that too. And you know, I think that looking at him and looking at Olivia and all of the things, my daughter, all the things that she has in front of her, and my nieces and my nephews and my brother and my sister and my mom, and you know, just there's so much celebration here left to,
And
you know, to experience.
You're surrounded by multiple generations, and I think that's a good thing, as well as your own friendships in your own generation, you know, and your siblings. But that kind of support is so necessary, you know. And I'm thinking I'm seeing more of that intergenerational or multi-generational coming together and support. It used to be like everybody wanted to divide things, like, oh, you're Gen X, you're Gen Z, you're Gen, and you have to be this, that, and the other thing. I don't like that. I think what's in your spirit, you can be born old, you know these people who are just souls, or you can have a youthful spirit, but then be 103 and still want to dance, you know?
Well, I think that looking at people that just can get along with whoever. I mean, looking at my own workplace, we have young people, we have older people, we have middle-aged, you know, now, and it's just, I think we all learn from each other, and just everybody has something to offer.
There should be no divide, among and between generations. There just shouldn't. There's so much fun in learning about each other. I used to love listening to the stories that my parents or grandparents or some of the great grandparents or aunts and uncles would tell, and about their life, and it was like, so my expectations, oh, it's going to be like that. Totally different. I was in a different generation. But I remember my father looking at me sometimes thinking, where did you get that? Because, you know, every generation has young.
At least he didn't tell you to not talk.
Well, that's true.
Because
or to take my posters off the wall or whatever it was. Because, you know, there is a natural divide in some ways between, without understanding. But once you understand where they're coming from.
Well, I will tell you, I have found that experiencing great loss just kind of wipes the slate clean. So if if I encounter someone, it's as if our souls are connected. I mean,
that's amazing.
It's so
truly
true.
Amazing, because that, I think, is what it's really all about. Feeling connected to another soul.
I think that's really why we're here.
Yep.
You look at all the things that you try to accomplish in your life, and the goals that you have, and the things that these dreams that are put in your head, and it's taken me a long time and going through a lot to really trust that. Just let me trust God's plan. Just let me trust that in the end, that when I get there, He's going to say, well done. You did. And I want my boys to say that. I want my boys to say that too. And so how do I do it?
Stay the course. Yeah.
Stay the course and just trust that, I'm here, we're here to help you through whatever you're going through. Because life is no joke.
No.
Life is no joke.
But you cannot go through life without humor, because that's absolutely buoys you up at a time when you don't. And I always think about that scene in Steel Magnolias when they're at the cemetery and somebody says something funny and they're all just like really mad and angry, and somebody says something funny and it just breaks all the tension.
Well, It's hit her,
Here,
Weezer.
yeah.
Here, you can hit
I
Weezer.
remember the
Here
one, but
she
yes.
is. Well, I had a friend of mine that was going to wear a sign that said, "I'm Weezer today. I'm Weezer," whatever her name is, because
Do whatever you need to do. I'm
at
helping you.
Tommy's funeral,
Uh-huh.
Joe was, at Andy's funeral, we had a little hiccup with the slideshow.
Yes,
And
yes.
so Joe was determined that that was not going to happen at Tom. And they got a little tense. And I got to tell you, when it requires a lot of grace not to lose it when you're facing the hardest
Already.
times of your life.
Yes. Yes.
But my friend, she was like, "I'm here to make sure that, that goes off without a
It's gonna be
hitch."
fine. Yes.
So she was like, I'll take one for the team today. So
Somebody saying something like that, that's a point of grace. It's a point of grace. It helps you get to the next moment. And
I prayed for that grace. I really did. I prayed for that grace, knowing that people were going to be coming with, their own. You can be irritated at everything because you're so raw.
Right.
I felt like exposed nerves for a long time. And I just prayed not to lose it. And I probably did lose it. I probably lost some friends over it.
I saw it. He actually even spoke. And that was such a witness of your strength and faith to be able to do that, to give him that you spoke. And you wrote both of them for both boys. But for Tommy, you spoke. So nobody could believe that. That was super mom cool.
Well, that was the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, well.
Truth.
Yeah.
Truth.
Yeah, because nobody can do that. But to be able to help somebody else, and I think that's why we started this podcast. Because we just got talking about things that were meaningful to us and situations, issues, and then thought, well, we're not alone. Everybody's going to still.
Everybody has a mess. And like I said, we're here to share our own experiences and the things that we have learned that have given us strength to, to deepen our faith instead of letting it go. Because in that deepening of faith, and it doesn't, it's not like all of a sudden you just have it. You have an opportunity to really, to really have that relationship. And I think God says, "Bring it all to me."
Right.
And when you actually do that, that's where I think the healing and the peace without understanding,
When you let go.
when you let go.
And letting go and trusting that he will handle the grief. He will handle the joy. He will handle whatever it is that you think you can't handle.
So, in closing today, make it make sense.
Make it make sense.
I don't know that it will make sense, but we can try.
And if there's something you would like us to make sense about, or at least try, let us know. Go to our website and check it out and leave us a message.
And like us and subscribe.
Yeah.
That's what they all say. So we're going to say it too. So
we're not sure what it means yet.
Yes, share it with your friends. Like us.
Yeah.
And please, we welcome your feedback and we welcome your stories and know that you're not alone.
You're welcome.
We'll see you next time. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.